to see which strategies just work best. You have a much more clear image of why matchups work the way they work, but we've seen players taking all different kinds of approaches to the game. I don't really know who is an actual favorite in terms of how the cards match up.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Zombie Chow turn 1, can't ask for much more than that though. And this is actually StrifeCro versus Faramir, so we'll get that fixed up for you guys. It is not, in fact, just Saiyan versus Dart. Sorry about that. But, yeah, so turn 1 Zombie Chow. Really can't get any better than that. And I mean, do you think that's going to force out Coin Dark Bomb? I don't really think there's any point in doing that just yet. I mean, you have the death rattle anyway. You can afford to take a few points.
This is a matchup where Zombie Chow is actually not pulling a lot of weight. Yeah. So, I think he's happy to see it turn 1 because it means he's not going to draw it later on in the game, but not a card he's really too thrilled about. And, to see Coin Life Tap here, I'm not surprised by this either because you notice he doesn't really have a lot of gas in his hand. So, he doesn't have a turn 4 play. He doesn't have a turn 3 play. He doesn't have a turn 2 play. He just needs to get something rolling. So he's hunting for those strong drops. He wants Mountain Giant. He wants Twilight Drake. He wants to be able to take an aggressive stance and move forward. Yeah,
and I mean, on the other side of the table, with the Eldar Peacekeeper in hand, you kind of want to see that Mountain Giant as opposed to the Drake.
Yep. I don't even know if you really want to see it, but
think so?
You don't mind seeing it, I think is kind of the hunt here. And at this point, Dark Bomb's got to come out. Like, you don't want the Knife Juggler to get too much value. I mean, if you saw Muster for Battle there, that is a ton of damage that's coming across that board.
Well, there's the Quartermaster. But no Muster for Battle in hand, unfortunately for him.
Pretty strong hand despite that, though. He's got answers to things, and he's got ways to continue to develop, so pretty strong curve here from Faramir, and StrifeCro going to be looking to answer this, but still no turn 4 play.
Do you think we'll see a Farseer come down because of that? No, I'm just going to
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's just going to keep going with life taps. He's still hunting for a 4-drop here.
Yeah.
For the option to draw 2 cards this turn and then still get a 3rd one next turn. He's got a pretty good chance to draw it. Nothing going still, and this is going to be Piloted Shredder for sure, yeah.
Getting that Shredder down is just so nice.
Piloted Shredder's so good.
Yeah, it really is. One of the strongest cards, for sure, in GVG.
Honestly, the fact that it'll fetch Explosive Sheep or Doomsayer to kind of clear out your board sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a cost that needs to be weighted with Pilot Shredder because otherwise it's just so good. Like, imagine if this always got something good for you. It would be too good.
I mean, it's hard to even really count that as a cost. I mean, it can be really devastating when it does happen. It really sucks, but at the same time, it can also give you Millhouse Mana Storm.
Yeah. I've gotten Millhouse, I think, actually more than any other individual minion off that card.
Really? Wow.
I've been very fortunate with Pilot Shredders. And then sometimes you get shielded Minibot, and you're like, oh, look at that. That's the perfect one I needed because you have two twos on the board.
Really good as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really strong cards that it can summon up.
I'm excited to see how they have to, do they have to design minions a different way because Pilot Shredder can fetch them in the future?
Might have to, man.
Reels is just sitting there going, no, you're making my job so hard. You can't make this 2-cost minion when Piloted Shredder exists. If this minion was summoned off of another minion, it gets +4/+4.
Alright, so it's going to be a True Silver Champion. Wants to defend that Piloted Shredder a little bit, and still no Muster for Battle just yet, but going to be able to put on a little bit of pressure, and we'll see how aggressive he wants to get. Down to 17 HP. Still hasn't had one of those turn 4 plays, and there is that Mountain Giant finally.
Yep, speak of the devil, but StrifeCro has drawn a ton of cards so far this game. We actually saw him Coin Life Tap. He's used Immortal Coil successfully. He Life Tap again that same turn. I mean, it's just a matter of time before he draws it. But what he's looking at now is, does he have a better play? Is Sludge Belcher better? Does he want to Life Tap first? All these things are coming in consideration. Does he maybe want to Iron Beak Owl this Piloted Shredder instead of doing something else? I don't imagine he does. It looks to me like Sludge Belcher or Mountain Giant's going to be your play, but he's got to think about how Life Tapping affects things if he wants to play the Mountain Giant, because sometimes he will not Life Tap when he plays this Mountain Giant here, and sometimes he's going to play Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, I like the Sludge Belcher. I mean, I think he has to be a little bit worried about that just his Giant getting ignored and him just going face, but at the same time, Muster for Battle, pretty nice draw there. Sets up a pretty good turn 8. I mean,
is this Sludge Belcher ever draw an Eldar Peacekeeper so he can keep his presence on the board? Wow.
That's
exactly
so
what's going to
nice if he actually gets that out. That's crazy. I mean,
this is like a very Faramir thing to do, and it's honestly, it's like I talked about how these styles, they're trying to do the same thing. They fight for the board really heavily, but they do it in different ways.
I mean, because he would have just lost. He would have just lost the Zombie Chow.
I mean, this is what makes.
He didn't have to lose.
No. He's losing the charge on the Piloted Shredder kind of, or sometimes too, if he wants to do this. I mean, he just wants a Zombie Chow. I think what he's more concerned with is the heal on his opponent, Because look at how much damage he's got now. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It wouldn't have actually, because it would have been the same thing. He would have just hit with the weapon, then hit with the zombie chow. The zombie chow would have died. So the only difference would be he would have taken 2 more damage to his hero, and his zombie chow would be dead.
The more important part of the story is that he's developing a 3-3. Like, he wants to keep the pressure on here. And this is, I mean, this is just what Faramir does. This is his style. He's extremely aggressive with developing his board. Yesterday, we saw him play a quartermaster on turn 5 with no minions on the board.
Yeah. Still, I mean, is that stronger development than just doing a muster for battle after using your weapon charge?
I think so.
Keeping the Peacekeeper available?
I think so. I think he wants to save the muster for battle on a turn where he can nail it with the quartermaster. That's going to keep his opponent from, from being able to easily shadow flame out boards like this. Like if he'd have played the muster for battle last turn, something like an Iron Beak Owl and a shadow flame would have cleared this board out. He wouldn't have anything left, but that's not happening this turn. Even if he chooses to use like Owl Shadow Flame, he's still going to have a 3-power minion on the board, so he can keep the pressure up. And again, it's not to say like one play is right or wrong. It's just this is the way that Faramir fights for the board, and it's been working for him. That's sort of a bigger story to me. Is a lot of people wouldn't play this way, but he's making it successful.
Well, we'll see how it's going to work out now. What the draw is going to be here. Definitely wants something nice to help work through that. And that's actually a really good draw.
Yeah, I think he's very comfortable paying life here.
Of course. I mean, you can just trade in the Piloted Shredder and then one whack from your True Silver Champion. I mean, it's about as good as you could hope for.
Piloted Shredder's gonna. Who taught that Murloc how to operate a Piloted Shredder? That's what I want to know.
It's got to be against some sort of safety code, man.
We don't need those guys learning how to operate machinery. They're devastating enough on their own.
Yeah.
So now this
15, he's trying to decide, what he wants to do here. I mean, the thing is, with 7 mana, and if you're at 15 HP, you can Molten plus Sun Fury anyway. I guess the other thing is, if you put him down to...
I'd like to see him go to 14 here.
Yeah, I think 14 is good, because 14 means you can't Molten plus Argus.
Or Molten Shadow Flame.
Or Molten Shadow Flame. So I like doing...
And he's not going to be able to Molten play another minion and Sun Fury.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just 14 right now is the magic number for him.
Because it only gives him the 1 more mana. So 14 is definitely what he's calculating to, and I think that's what he's going to go for.
Man, Faramir has just been on point this tournament. You know what? Big Game Hunter Shadow Flame is not too shabby of a turn, though.
Really nice.
But even if that happens, Faramir's got the reload. He's got Muster for Battle with Quartermaster.
Yeah, very true. I think it's going to be the play, though, because you can't really be worrying about that when you're kind of staring at this board.
A problem with this Shadow Flame, too, is that the Zombie Chow is actually going to start healing you outside of your Molten Giant range, too. So this is going to give Faramir so much time to recover and fight again to have a dominant board position.
He's only going to need the 1 turn, though.
Yeah, I think StrifeCro's done a really good job, though. He kind of struggled a lot with his opening hand. He didn't have a ton of options, and he made the best of what he could. And this is a scenario where he has an opportunity to do the exact same thing. So it is going to be this Shadow Flame. It's pretty rare that Big Game Hunter is a good draw when your opponent doesn't have an 8-power minion on the board.
Yeah, but really, I think it was the only thing he could have actually
Second Muster for Battle now.
Wow.
Do you think he's going to hold on to this? He's got to hold on to this Quartermaster, right?
You think double Muster for Battle here?
I don't think he double Muster. No, he's just going to go for Quartermaster. So he does risk something like Hellfire here, but how much of a cost is that to Faramir when he's got a second Muster for Battle right in hand? I mean, this is a tough spot now.
No kidding. We could ton up a Molten Giant, but really it's not the best.
If he plays that Dr. Boom, he's just dead. He's got to find a way to actually stem some of the bleeding this turn.
So many possibilities.
If you tap your Molten Giant's 3s, I mean, you could tap, see if you get anything, Molten Giant ton up, or you could simply Molten Giant ton up. I mean, you don't have enough mana to, unfortunately, like Owl, Molten, and ton up. You could also Ancient Healbot ton up, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be the Molten ton up, or it's gonna be tap, see what you get, and then ton up if you don't get anything.
I don't know. I don't really know what's best. I mean, he's got to be thinking about the potential for Consecrate.
Yeah.
I think he definitely is thinking about double Consecrate just because he's got the time to think about it. Your opponent's only got 3 cards in hand, so you have plenty of time to really put together a range that's going to kill you.
So he's gonna tap. He gets a Defender, but unfortunately, not able to really play that with anything. So it's just got to be Molten Giant ton up unless
I don't mind Antique Healbot here actually. I think it's pretty good.
Even with the 9-4, I mean, he has 13, 15 damage.
This is still effectively soaking up 8 points of damage. The difference is that this is starting to eliminate some board pressure.
Oh my god.
Aldor Peacekeeper
draw.
comes into hand for Faramir, and that could be so important and to make sure that he can keep the board pressure up. He's going to keep looking at how double consecrates are going to affect things. maybe he wants to follow up a Consecrate turn with Aldor Peacekeeper on the next threat that's going to be out there.
Definitely something to think about for sure. Keeping all these minions alive is pretty frightening too, though. You could hold on to those Consecrates. You could Aldor Peacekeeper, take that out. You could even take out the Sun Fury Protector as well. You could have a very strong board presence, keep everything alive with just the one card. Tough decisions to make.
I gotta believe with the way he's played this game that this is gonna be an Aldor Peacekeeper.
Yeah, I think it's the best play. Keep your whole board alive. It's kind of demanding that they have another Shadow Flame or Hellfire.
That's exactly what he's gonna do. After some very deliberate thought, so much presence from Faramir.
Do you think
but
he
again,
kills the Sun Fury off too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. A single Hellfire, a single Shadow Flame. Both of those could turn the game around now for StrifeCro, but he needs to draw one or the other. With this hand, something like Siphon Soul just frankly isn't very good.
What's it going to be? Twilight Drake. It's going to almost force the tap here.
Gosh, I mean, he could put up some taunts, but is that going to keep him alive? Like, how much does he lose when he begins to taunt up here? Because this isn't just like one big minion that's taking all the damage. It's spread out amongst a lot of little guys.
And he knows that 3 cards have sat in his hand for a long time.
Yeah. You got to be afraid of what those are too. Like what?
Yeah.
Like what if one of those is a silence or something like that?
Yeah,
He's gonna dig.
Shadow
Picks
Flame.
up a Shadow Flame. But 2 of these minions are going to live through this Shadow Flame anyway because he doesn't have the mana to play Twilight Drake and Shadow Flame this turn.
Yeah, it's got to be Owl Shadow Flame. So, I mean, with Owl Shadow Flame coming down...
You actually would still lose the game because Faramir's got 2 Consecrates.
2 Consecrates plus the weapon plus the 3 and the 2 from the Peacekeeper and the Quartermaster. So,
Anti-Healbot, that would take him to 18. It takes 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, I don't think the StrifeCro's actually got a way to live through this turn.
No,
unless
I don't think
Faramir just outright makes a mistake.
Yeah, but I think it's very unlikely for him to mess this one up. I mean, the Shadow Flame was a good draw, but at the same time, it just doesn't have the ability to clear the board fully. Yep. And it's going to be the play, and that will spell the end of the game. I do believe.
Really the only option he's got, and just unfortunately for him, Faramir's got one of those exact ranges that does result in a death for him.
Yep, does have the exact lethal there with the double Consecrate and the weapon. That's going to be it here for game number 1. Faramir out to a 1-0 lead.
Wow.
Taking a game with his Paladin deck. StrifeCro going to fall down with the handlock, and I mean, it's got to be a bit rough of a feeling for StrifeCro. He's got to be a little bit frustrated with his draws early that game.
Yeah, I don't really know if StrifeCro's not really the kind of guy that gets frustrated with that sort of stuff. He keeps a really level head. He thinks about his plays really comfortably. It's not really that big of a deal for him. He just plays the game and he makes the decisions that he has to make. I mean, we've seen him be very mindful but very deliberate in the plays that he's made and making sure that he's not messing anything. Yeah, definitely gonna go with Mage here. Pretty good opening hand too. Mad Scientist, definitely one of the ones you want to see. But Faramir,
that Zombie Chow again, man.
Zombie Chow in that last game added up to so much.
Actually got a lot of work done. Yeah,
it made such a difference that Zombie Chow stayed alive on the board. But that's the kind of use that these players are looking to get out of cards like this when they fight for the board so heavily. They want to make the most out of everything they have. And both of these guys, again, they play very similarly in that style. But Faramir, I think, is going to be much more aggressive in his option to kind of use cards versus what StrifeCro does. StrifeCro, again, still very aggressive in his board development, but not quite as aggressive in terms of trying to end the game all the time.
Yeah, I mean, always that frustrating card to see turn 1, at least for me, is the Zombie Chow. It's going to be the Mad Scientist coming down here to challenge. He's going to be able to do that. I mean, if he decides to trade clean up with the hero power, obviously. But I mean, it's such a nice start already. I mean, with the Knife Juggler into Muster for Battle, this is already looking very rough.
Basically the same kind of start that he had last game.
Yeah, very nice start, really.
So we actually saw ice blocks in StrifeCro's deck yesterday, or at least we saw at least one ice block in this build.
I kind of feel like you just have to Frostbolt the Knife Juggler. I mean, I don't think you're too worried about taking a little bit of damage from this Zombie Chow
it's like
because
a replay from last game.
Right?
It's like a replay from last game.
Yeah,
right?
literally.
Dark bomb the Knife Juggler right off the bat.
I just can't afford to leave it up there.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with you. I think that in this kind of position, that Knife Juggler is just threatens so much potential value, not something that you want to leave up. What if that's counterspell though? The secret. He just like, yeah, have your muster for battle.
Oh, is going to be able to frostbolt that up, and I think we're just going to see the muster come down here anyway. Because I mean, muster, and he can just coin into quartermaster. This is like a dream start. This is actually, I mean, just the cards that Faramir has in his hand are giving him such a massive tempo advantage. It's going to put StrifeCro on the back foot massively. I mean, it's almost guaranteed to just be like a water rally coming out, or it could be Mad Scientist plus the hero power. But it's like he's gonna have nothing to deal with this for a long time.
Do you think he's thinking about coining in case it's counterspell?
I don't know, man. I guess he has to consider it. But if you watch StrifeCro's games yesterday, he knows he doesn't have counterspell in the deck. I don't think you coin here. I think that would, like, with this setup already there, I think he's just mousing over cards.
Just to kind of throw his opponent off. Definitely is a possibility, but
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if he was
or
thinking about coining there.
Some people do it as a bit of a nervous habit, you know, or just like, you know, an ADD thing or whatever you want to call it. They're just kind of scrolling through the cards.
Yeah, this is a position where I almost certainly think, wow, that Annoyatron may throw off of a ping though.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. I mean, Annoyatron's not so good when your opponent's got Zombie Chow on the board, and StrifeCro's about to get some bad news. That Quartermaster.
Just a brutal start. I mean, Zombie Chow into the Knife Juggler, into the Muster for Battle, into a coin Quartermaster. Just...
Yep. There is a little bit of merit here actually to using Equality still too, because you can use your Light's Justice to pick off this Water Elemental, and you get to make a token out of this. So even if your opponent pings one of the tokens, you haven't really lost anything. You lose a few points of damage here, but you handle a Water Elemental straight away. You don't lose any of your pressure from your minions because they were all at 1 health anyway. He's actually just going to choose to use the Zombie Chow here instead of the Light's Justice too. So, you know, a little bit of bad news that StrifeCro's going to get 2 Water Elementals out of this, but I think he's pretty satisfied with this position.
Yeah, no kidding. I think he is as well. I mean, it's going to allow him to hold on to his coin. So we'll have to see what the answer is going to be here for StrifeCro.
There's actually 2 copies of Illuminator in here as well. This deck is a very grindy, control-heavy mage deck.
I'm kind of expecting to just see like Mad Scientist and a ping.
I don't know. I think if he played Water Elemental last turn, he's almost certainly going to play it again this turn. Yep.
You still don't think he's worried about Quartermaster?
Well, the fact that Faramir didn't Quartermaster last turn, I think may kind of give him the idea that maybe just Quartermaster isn't here. That's
Very
sort of
true.
that's another benefit of having played that, and he does have another Equality should he choose to want to wipe out, you know, one of these Water Elementals with another Equality and try to keep a tempo advantage. But
one thing is going to be, though, you know, one of the things that, you know, as Faramir you have to take into consideration, and something we didn't really talk about with that Equality play, is every turn closer to turn 7, you have to think more about Flame Strike. And the thing is, you know, the longer you delay at Quartermaster, the less value it really starts to have. Because, yeah, 3/3s are great, but if they all die to Flame Strike, it's pretty brutal.
I think it's one of the reasons why this matchup is I would tend to think goes in the favor of the mage.
So it looks like it's going to be Mad Scientist ping. And he's going to give the nod to the Quartermaster. And I think, you know, in this position, knowing what we know, that was the right play. So a good read there from StrifeCro.
Part of the benefit of playing that Equality a little aggressively, you don't give your opponent a lot of information to work with. I cannot imagine this. Wow, I'm so surprised he chose to kill that Mad Scientist. If you don't kill the Mad Scientist here, none of your guys are really threatened by anything. And you give your opponent a chance to actually draw that secret instead of thinning it out of their deck. I actually would have liked to see him just go straight for the dome. Like, how much of a threat is Mad Scientist in this position?
Not much. Interesting to see what the play is going to be here. I mean, are you expecting to see, you know, Frostbolt come down as well as this Water Rally? I'm just not sure if it's going to be a Frostbolt or if it's going to be a ping. I mean, I guess you can just ping one out. I mean, I guess it makes most sense just to ping that off since you have it there.
Yep.
You have no chance of putting it on the Neutron.
No real reason to use the Frostbolt here. And again, he's got access to the Flame Strike next turn, so he can eat some damage and go from there. And if this
Knife Juggler and the Peacekeeper come down, that would be... Oh, okay, Sylvanas.
Yep.
I think Sylvanas is the right play here, especially considering what turn 7 could be. You don't really want to flood the board too much.
You think there's any merit to Dr. Boom?
Yeah, there is. I mean, any time you can play Dr. Boom, I think when you're already ahead is a great time. Dr. Boom is extremely strong. I mean, still with the answers on the board, unless he somehow clears up this Water Rally, you know, he's going to be able to answer that pretty well. He's going to be able to dive that in and then Flame Strike.
How worried is he about Flame Strike, do you think?
I think you have to be worried. I mean, there's a couple cards that have sat in StrifeCro's hand. The first 3 cards, I think, have been sitting in his hand basically the whole time. Sylvanas, with the Flame Strike in mind, is the better play.
Hanging on to the Light's I like hanging on to this last charge of Light's Justice here. Gosh, this isn't even really that good of a Flame Strike turn because you're...
No, it's not.
Even if you attack the Sylvanas here, your Water Elemental is going to live through that.
Yeah, what do you think about just clearing up one of the 3/3s and, dropping an Illuminator and another Water Ellie? Do you think it's something like that, or do you feel like you have to get rid of this? Do you feel like you attack into the Sylvanas and then Flame Strike? I mean, you're giving him a 3/1 Water Ellie, but I don't know. It's not really a lot of easy plays here. So if he does Flame Strike, is he going to clear that up, or does he just, bump the Quartermaster, Flame Strike, and then trade in next turn?
He's not just giving up the Water Elemental too, by the way, because the Quartermaster is going to live through the Flame Strike, so that's going to be another 2/1
I kind of prefer just hitting the Quartermaster with the Water Ellie and then Flame Striking because of that.
And then you're taking 5 from Sylvanas.
Yeah.
You're taking 5 either way.
Yeah, because if you give me Water Ellie, you're taking 5 anyway, but then this way you have at least an answer. So it's going to just be a Frostwolf. He's just going to freeze it up, try to set up for a better one, I guess. And the Illuminator comes down. So Illuminator and Noyotron going to start to heal up a little bit. Do you think he goes face to freeze the weapon so he can't deny the ping? Yeah, I like that.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, I think that's actually smart. Doesn't give him the free clear of the shield. I actually like that. He's trying to set up for a huge Flame Strike, and I think that's the best way to do it because he's forcing 2 minions to attack into the Noyotron with that instead of just the 1. And I mean, if he tries to juggle to kind of get rid of this, if he's reading this as, oh, he doesn't have Flame Strike, then this could get pretty bad for Faramir here. See, I mean, it's like by forcing him to do that, he's putting his own Quartermaster at 4. Like it was a really good play. It was a really heads-up play. I like that a lot. Dr. Boom can come down. And I mean, he's going to have to start trading stuff in. Is he going to quality? Wow, okay. So,
Well, I mean, this is a much better turn now, I think, for Flame Strike because
yeah.
You're not giving your opponent anything from Sylvanas.
No, you just trade in your 2 minions and you Flame Strike.
Yep. I think that's really the turn he was looking for. This is really well played from StrifeCro.
Yeah, very well. I really do think that freezing the hero there was actually very key because otherwise he wouldn't have had the ping to kill the Quartermaster.
Yep.
So it was actually really intelligent stuff there from StrifeCro. I think that's going to be what it is.
Just kind of sucks you have to trade in both your minions to
does
deal with
suck,
this kind
yeah.
of board.
But his hand is pretty darn nice after that. He has some pretty strong minions.
Yeah.
So, going forward in the extra turns, if you've slowed down the Paladin enough, you could be in a pretty decent spot. I mean, you just can't afford to leave this board.
No.
He's got to do it. He's just...
Yeah, he's just making sure that this is going to be the right position for him to be in.
Yeah.
Just sort of been like, yeah, I mean, I do have to suicide both my minions. Wow, maybe he's not.
Oh my god, are you kidding? Okay, yeah.
Maybe he was seeing if there's a difference.
He can potentially take 8 damage from these bombs. Let's see how they land. 4.
Wow,
oh, wow,
he takes
so
6 damage though. And this is a pretty scary spot here for StrifeCro. He does have an ice block. I believe it's an ice block he has
we
down.
haven't actually seen.
It's got to be basically everything that's been triggered here. And if you're Faramir here, I think you got to load the board up. I think you got to go for Knife Juggler. This is certainly the turn you're going to use the coin.
Just Knife Juggler, Harrison, coin,
yep.
and Hero Power.
Just get everything in while you can, and hope that you can, just make such a big push on your opponent that they can't handle what you're throwing at them.
Yep. Can put him to 3 HP with that. If he decides to use the last weapon charge, of course. Definitely a rough spot for StrifeCro. I mean, those bombs actually came in pretty big, and that's one of the big values with it. Oh,
second Flame Strike
wow.
gets picked up from StrifeCro now, and this may be exactly the kind of turn he needed to stabilize his board position.
Yeah, he has to.
He doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, he's sitting under an ice block.
I just don't think he has any way to recover his health back up after that. With the weapon charge being held on to,
He's got antique healbot and stuff like that in his deck too.
But
He doesn't want to rely on those draws.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have it in hand yet.
Second Aldor Peacekeeper. I
Now,
think it's pretty likely you're going to see one of these. Yeah, just as a 3/3.
This has to, but it's not really that strong. So it's one of the things that he's been able to force him into. But still, StrifeCro is definitely not out of the woods.
Noyotron
nice
Kel'Thuzad gets picked up. And StrifeCro, though, he's got to be worried about this ice block getting popped and then dropping down and just being in consecrate range. But
He's going to see what he draws from the spare part. Looking for a freeze or a taunt.
And
Gets
he
the
gets
freeze.
the freeze off of it.
Wow.
Gonna hold on to it though. Lets the Annoyatron go.
That's okay in this scenario though, because he's not going to be able to take any face damage. So I mean, the thing is, yeah, he's gonna have to pop the shield with his last weapon charge, and then we can see Kel'Thuzad come down. He can freeze up any new threat that gets dropped if he needs to.
Well, he's gonna Loatheb though.
Oh, so yeah, he may not be able to.
So now he doesn't have the ability to freeze, and that 1/7 Toshli is not a big threat right now. StrifeCro again on the back foot. Faramir done an excellent job of making sure he keeps everything developed. Archmage Antonidas is no good right now. StrifeCro, though, he's behind an ice block, but he's got to get something rolling right now.
Yeah, I mean, that Loatheb, man, is actually just making such a big difference here.
I think you got to go for Archmage here, let the ice block pop, and then hope between the freeze spare part and the fireballs that you pick up that you're going to be able to recover this board position, and just hope that your opponent doesn't have a single point of damage directly.
I mean, he hasn't played either Consecrate, though. There's a pretty high chance of having something. Another weapon, a Consecrate, there's such a high chance. It's a hard thing to decide on, but I kind of agree. I feel like it's just going to be Archmage, ping the 3-2, hit the 3-2 with your Toshli.
Yep. Archmage kind of, it may act like a taunt here in a lot of situations too, because
you are scared of the turnaround, but at the same time, with so many draw potentials to end the game, I feel like Faramir, based on how he's played, is just going to go for it.
I mean, his draw matters a lot too.
Of course.
You require my assistance.
StrifeCro still in need of some extra draws to really finish this game off. Faramir able to pop this ice block, but if he does, he's got to worry about Archmage.
Quartermaster.
This might be an equality turn.
Yeah, looking like it.
God, you lose so much health on your own minions by using equality too, but
I don't know. I don't know if what do you think about just...
he's got to kill that Archmage.
Yeah.
That guy's such a threat right now.
I mean, if you equality, then I think you trade in your 3-3, and you can drop a Quartermaster with another token. You can get 2 3-3s after that because you can buff them back up after the equality.
Yep. StrifeCro's going to be put at 1 after that too.
So it's looking like it will be the equality. Very likely a token and the Quartermaster as well.
Wow, 1/1 Toshli.
Yeah.
Little baby Toshli.
All right, so there is the play, and he's going to be able to pop the block down to 1 HP.
Wow. StrifeCro needs something right now. Antique Healbot, I imagine, is what he's looking for exactly.
Maybe another ice block.
Picks up a duplicate. No ice block. No way to fend off all of this damage. Faramir is going to take a 2-0 lead over StrifeCro unless he cannot count to 1.
I think there's pretty good odds of that. Oh, man. And StrifeCro is going to look through this. He's going to think, I mean, he can trade it in. Could he actually survive if he gets another spare part with poly, double, freeze?
There's no chance.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing he can do. Because he can ping the Loatheb. You can trade in, even if he got another freeze. He would have 2 freezes and a poly. Actually, wait. Okay, so that would be dead. And then he would freeze the 3-3. If he draws another freeze, let's say, he freezes the other 3-3, and then he can poly ping.
Oh,
he
yeah,
actually
he
can
do that.
survive.
Yeah, he can survive
So
this turn.
he needs to figure out that he has to hit the 5-1.
Oh,
and he has to draw a freeze.
He could also get a taunt spare part off of this.
Yep.
Taunt of the water
Yeah,
elemental.
so he's not actually guaranteed to be dead. If he gets a freeze or a taunt, doesn't get it. Timer
yeah,
Winder.
Timer
That is
Winder
now it.
instead. So
Yep.
2 out of, I believe there's 7 spare parts?
There's
7 or 8.
attack, there's reversing switch, timer winder, taunt, freeze, health, and
freeze. Oh, I'm sorry.
freeze, so 6?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly which one to do that. Well, there's that start again with the old Zombie Chow and Knife
God.
Juggler.
And he has a shielded mini-bot to boot.
Yep.
Why not? But at least we do have the Fiery War Axe. We have the Dream. The Dream.
Fiery Win Axe.
Yep. This is how you win games as a warrior. You start with Fiery War Axe in your hand.
Shielded Minibot's pretty good against Fiery War Axe, though.
It is. It's darn good. Cruel Task is not bad to answer.
Wow, he's even got Muster for battle, too. So all 3 games, Faramir has gotten the curve he needs.
I think it's just going to be the Cruel Task to answer, to pop the shield.
Yep. Has to take some extra damage from that, but he gets the 2/2 out of the deal.
Does it actually buff it if you pop a shield with it?
Yeah, it gets
Still
+2
buffs
attack
it
no
even
matter
if
what.
it doesn't deal damage?
Yep.
Okay.
It's +2 attack, and then the one damage is not dependent on getting +2 attack. Just the effect.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that because with with the minions that have like where they destroy any minion they attack, they have to actually deal the damage. It doesn't.
Same with implosion. If you implosion a shield, you get 0 imps from it.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw Sixo do that on stream.
Some of the things interact.
Sixo was playing. He's like, I wonder if you get minions if you implosion a shield.
Nope.
Implosions a shield gets nothing. Snap concedes the game. He's like rank 7 on NA.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is how the best players in the world do it. They just concede games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they experiment when they're going for #1 on ladder.
Yeah. It's just not worth playing those games out. He's thinking about it. Does he actually want to go with the cruel test? I feel like he should, though, man. I mean, how could he? Wow. He's gonna hold on weapon charge.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't actually really lose anything by not killing us here,
true.
too. Second shield mini
Oh
bot
my
picked
god.
up.
This hand, man. The world is his oyster. He could knife juggler and coin out a second shielded mini bot. That would be such a terrible hand to deal
Could
with.
just play a second shielded mini bot, too. I
do
mean,
that
that's
as
a
well.
nightmare board to have to deal with now.
Muster for
StrifeCro's
battle
fine.
really good. I mean, really, any of those 3 options are great.
I imagine if at this point, he's probably looking to save the muster for battle to combo with knife juggler.
Yeah.
Very likely StrifeCro's going to have to do something to make sure this is taken care of. With all these shielded
Ooh,
mini
another
bots and stuff like this
Fire
showing up, like between shielded mini bot and Oiatron, I actually would kind of like to see Slam make a comeback.
Yeah, I've seen Slam actually in a fair number of decks. On ladder at least.
Yeah. I have to use this Cruel Taskmaster, so didn't really take any extra damage from this because he got the 2 extra from the armor up out, but now Faramir going to have a great looking turn in front of him with Knife Juggler and Muster for battle,
Yeah.
and he's got 3 shots to hit that Cruel Taskmaster.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's almost guaranteed.
There's a choice here too between developing your Fiery War Axe and using your
I feel
your
like
armor up.
one of the considerations has to be if your
Harrison
opponent,
Jones.
exactly. If your opponent equips a weapon, if he puts on True Silver Champion next turn, you want to have the ability to already have a weapon equipped and do it. So to me, I feel like I would have leaned towards Fiery War Axe, but
He's thinking about how much he loses if his opponent has Harrison Jones. Even piloted Shredder
and
as
his
a
opponent
pickup.
does
Yep,
have Harrison Jones.
and piloted Shredder is much better on curve than Knife Juggler Muster for battle is.
Yep.
This allows him not only to play around Harrison Jones by not putting the 1/4 weapon out there, but it also gives him a turn. Maybe he can hold that on to that until he draws a Quartermaster.
Yeah, I mean both of them have Harrison in hand, so it's gonna be the Fiery War Axe almost guaranteed coming down here, and with that, I mean, do you think he shield slams first? Do you think he shield slams? Is this something you shield slam? Because I mean, there's not a lot of high value targets, so it is gonna be shield slam. So he's gonna shield slam and then he's gonna clean up after. And I mean, I think this is smart because really, like, what else are you gonna shield slam in this pally deck, right? There's not a lot. So
He also could have seen a Doomsayer off of that, or maybe an explosive sheep or something.
Exactly.
So, really good
He
sequence
could
in
be
there.
fighting me. That was what would happen. And I mean,
You just have the worst RNG, don't you,
I
Azale?
know. It's the only reason I'm not winning these tournaments.
You're like the guy who goes, you're like Archmage is 69 on Reddit. You're like, oh, I could be good if I had that kind of RNG too.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, you definitely could be competing with the world's elite
Yeah.
if your Ragnaros would just hit the right target, 50% more.
yeah,
man.
yeah, exactly.
Lilith have really the only answer here, and it's threatened straight away. Faramir's just got all the answers right now.
And I mean, he's kind of forcing out the weapon, which it could easily just get Leroy, or rather Harrison up, not Leroy.
Leroy just
comes out,
destroys the
steals
weapons.
the weapon and then just uses it, gets plus attack with it as well.
He destroys the weapon and puts a 1/1 whelp on your opponent's side of the
Yeah.
board for each charge.
He should just gain the weapon. That's what they should do. That's what they should bring Leroy back. He gets his battle cry as he gains the opponent's weapon.
Do you remember when Harrison was every time you attack with a weapon, you draw a card?
Oh god, yeah.
I'm like almost positive that's what it used to be. I mean, it's so
I think
long
that
ago.
sounds
but-
familiar, yeah. Are you talking back to the beta days with like 2-3 knife juggler
Oh yeah,
and all
way
that
back
stuff?
in the day.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you had like even Mana Spring Totem,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, dude, remember when Healing Stream healed the Shaman?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fantastic. I loved it. They should change it back.
Well, you have Vitality Totem now.
Yeah.
You get to heal 4 times as much.
Yeah, but I want to do it with my hero power.
Oh,
I want to do both.
God, you're so greedy.
I want to do both.
Yep.
And then I want life tap for Shaman.
Speaking of greed, how greedy are you here? Are you going for Dr. Boom or are you playing Harrison Jones?
I feel like Harrison, man. Like, why give him? Why allow him to keep that weapon? It's going to challenge whatever you put down.
Don't you want a Harrison a muster for battle weapon though?
Yeah, I mean, if you get the huge draws, yeah, but at the same time, I mean, this is like directly giving you a draw guaranteed, and it's taking away the direct answer to your Harrison and stuff. I just feel like it's a high value play. he has good cards in his hand as well, so it's not like he's dying to get massive draws.
Gosh, and look at this muster for battle now. So much value going to be coming out, and this could potentially take out this Harrison Jones depending on how these jugglers go.
If he hits it twice, he doesn't have to trade in Harrison. Well,
wow, and there it is straight away.
Oh
all
God.
3 times hits Harrison Jones. Is he going to get a 4th one?
Oh, are you kidding me? Okay.
Doesn't save 5 points of damage though, but my gosh.
But still, he keeps his Harrison alive. That's the important part. If he didn't hit it twice, he would have actually had to trade Harrison.
Oh, he's actually going to trade in a token here.
That's reasonable.
Oh, it's so he doesn't have, so he has more space on his board. I wasn't even looking at the fact his entire board was full.
Now, clearly,
Afterwards.
this is just a Ragnaros turn, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean so many. Yeah, if only my
So many
Ragnaros
high
could hit
value.
the right target.
Yeah. See,
I got a Ragnaros here, and then
listeners,
post on Reddit
just
about it when I
allow
miss.
Allow me to choose the target for my Ragnaros. Well, only me. I don't want my opponents to be able to
That's
do
what
that.
a Golden Ragnaros does. It
Oh,
allows
really?
you. It's also what a Maz does.
It's actually
it allows you to choose.
the hidden battle cry of it.
Yeah.
You just actually get like a little sniper scope. I mean, it's probably just. I mean, he doesn't really have a turn. He can Shield Maiden if he's scared of dying, which he kind of has to be. You can Doctor Boom, which would maybe deal with the board nicely next turn. But it's like you're at 16. There's already 8, 9, 13 damage showing.
You are dead to Quartermaster
Yeah,
here.
exactly. So there's already 13 damage showing. So he has to Shield Maiden.
Wow.
And I mean, that's just a crap turn because he's not going to be able to deal with the board at all unless he starts drawing something.
Doesn't pick up a Quartermaster. But, I mean, still lots to do this turn.
I kind of just like Sylvanas, man. Sylvanas go face. What do you think about that?
I think there's a lot of merit to playing Sylvanas, but I think there's a lot of merit to keeping your opponent's board clean and stuff like this.
So just trade in. Do you think you trade in tokens or do you think you trade in
The Harrison for
Harrison?
sure.
Yeah. So then if you're going to do that, you want to trade in before you play it. Yeah, I mean, it definitely still threatens muster for
It
battle.
depends. Maybe he's feeling lucky with the juggles.
It's true. I mean, you could also, if you want to pay a little bit of life, you could pay 1 life, trade in a token or 2, play your extra muster for battle.
Yeah. Like say he uses Sylvanas here. The ping hits the Shield Master.
Yeah.
Or the Shield Maiden. Then he can kind of continue to do the math and see exactly how he wants to play out this turn. Maybe he could use some more. He could use a hero power, trade in some of these guys, and just like you said, pay some life.
Yeah. I don't mind paying
your
life
board
here, honestly.
I don't mind just trading in the Harrison Jones.
Both
either.
are fine.
Yep.
I think if you're going to trade in the Harrison, then you should play your Sylvanas, though. Sylvanas hero power, I like.
Are you worried about Brawl at all? I don't think you are, given the way the last turn panned out.
No, I don't. I think Brawl would come out. He's going to hold on, perhaps. Let's see. Will the Sylvanas come down?
I'm just gonna hang on to it.
All right.
Still a pretty big threat on this
It's in a
board.
great spot. And still, no answer, Sean. I mean, StrifeCro has just had a terrible run of luck, I feel, in this series. And what do you
I don't really know if it's so much StrifeCro's terrible luck, so much it is just like Faramir's had a really strong curve and has been on point with his plays.
It's true.
It's just really the strength of this deck more so than anything else.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, it does seem like if it curves out well and you don't really have really great answers, it's pretty horrible. I mean, you pretty much need Whirlwind Explosive Sheep to deal with these kind of boards.
Yep. That's what Ecop actually. He's playing. I think he's
Double.
one of the only person who's playing 2 copies of Explosive Sheep.
Yep. As a nod to this, probably. Well, I mean, it's pretty much just got to be Dr. Boom, I think.
I just don't see another
Yeah.
option. You have to find a way to recover this board. You just have to risk Quartermaster at this point. I think since he didn't see it last turn, he's
hoping.
pretty happy with the fact that it's not there.
Double Consecrate.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's only got 8 points of damage. 9, 10 with the.
How do you play?
He's at
How do you play
12
the
with consequence.
Sylvanas last turn? I mean, you could have maybe won this turn, but it's hard to know.
Really tough turn to deal with.
Mm.
Because now at this point, you have to be worried about these boom tokens too. You don't want
Yeah.
him to sweep up too much of your board. Should you just press for damage? But he wants to use Big Game Hunter as well. How did he develop Sylvanas last turn? Would that actually have been lethal? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? Yeah, he would have had lethal.
Yeah,
had he
that's what I
developed
was thinking,
Sylvanas and
yeah,
it went
right.
unchecked.
And it would have in this case.
Yep, he can't know that it's going to go unchecked
Oh,
though.
of course. I think. I still think that it's going to be basically. Oh, he's going to
Yeah.
consecrate.
I like consecrating here a lot. It allows you to play Big Game Hunter without risking the Big Game Hunter dying to the boom bots. And again, losing 2 tokens. I mean, the worst case scenario is that Knife Juggler dies and a token dies. I think.
Yeah, definitely worst case is Knife Juggler. Let's see
1
where
to
we go.
face and 1 to a minion.
Oh my god, yeah, that is about as good as you can get.
Big Game Hunter and another token. StrifeCro is down to 4 HP. Gonna go down to 3, and I don't know what he can draw here. I mean, it's got to be something like Brawl.
Alexstrasza. I mean, well, I think that'll keep him alive another turn. It's gonna be Alexstrasza. So he's 7.
No, Alexstrasza, he's at
5,
15.
12. Oh yeah, with the consecrate, he is exactly lethal.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Because 13 with the weapon, and then that consecrate. So it's gonna be game. Nothing he can do here. Didn't draw a whirlwind, and he is gonna Alexstrasza up. He doesn't know that the consecrate's there, but he's got to be feeling like his chances are more than grim.
Wow.
And this is gonna be it.
That's
StrifeCro.
incredible. There's Bolvar 4 Dragon. We actually
God.
we didn't see that guy come out. A Bolvar's a lot better, I think, than most people had actually
really
given credit
good,
for
man.
from the start too. You usually just played as like on turn 5 when
Yeah.
you had it in your opening hand. But my gosh, Faramir pulling off a 3-0 here against one of the best players in the world. He's taken down Kalento. He's taken down StrifeCro. Is Faramir the guy who's the favorite in this tournament at this point? I mean, these are 2 titans of players that he's taken down now.
You got to be looking at him. I mean, and not to mention that he's won 6 games straight now.
Yeah.
He swept out the last 3 of Kalento. He sweeps StrifeCro 3-0, clean sweep here, and he has got to be feeling great. Moving on into the semifinals, just absolutely dominating, and Faramir has just been looking so good in this tournament so far. I mean, the Paladin deck absolutely dominating. We saw the dominant